on what next. Apparently, the passengers who had their IDs have been pleading to be allowed to proceed with their journey, but that has not been accepted or implemented. You're seeing shots of Uhuru Park, and of course on the left of your screen, the entrance to Raila Odinga's residence at Karen, Nairobi, where our very own Wilkista Nyabo is still camped. Earlier on, we talked to her, and she told us they have not been allowed beyond the barrier. The only information they have, which they cannot certify or verify, is that Raila Odinga is at his residence. They were not able to verify that information. She told us that there is not an unusual presence of police officers, and that she will be posting us more. Remember, Francis Gashuri is along Gong Road. He'll be telling us more. Mercy Kandie is also at Karen, Kalonzo Musyoka's residence. Willis Raburu is in Kisumu, and Sam Kituku is at the High Court, ready to tell us what is the latest as far as the case that was filed by the Attorney General Githu Muigai challenging the legality of the People's Assemblies are concerned. Back here in the studio, I am with a Member of Parliament for Nyando constituency, Jared Okello. He was supposed to be with us, Honorable Speaker, Nairobi County Assembly, Beatrice Elachi, who is not here yet. I don't know if she'll still make it. It's quite some time gone. Mheshimiwa, how many people did you ferry from Nyando constituency?
Those who came from Nyando are to the tune of 6 buses, and they are here to witness the event.
Are they at Uhuru Park?
They made it. They made it to Nairobi. But again, it is quite unfortunate that at this time and age, the police would stop people traveling to Nairobi. And I want to believe not everybody in those buses were going to Uhuru Park. Some had very serious business. Some could have been coming to carry out interviews for job placements, and now they have been stopped and held incommunicado by police in Voi. That is quite unfortunate. I do not know any law that mandates every Kenyan to be armed by an identification card. I used to hear those during colonial periods. But you see how Jubilee is doing everything possible to bring back tyrannical and dictatorial tendencies. That in itself is dictatorship. You cannot hold a bus, a person who is out to carry out a business. And these are well-established bus companies in the names of going concerns. And you are interfering with their businesses at a time when the economy is really suffering. That is unacceptable. They ought to have allowed those people to proceed to their destinations. And in any event, if you are going to carry out a rally, for instance, at a particular place, the people who fill those stadia are not those who've been ferried. They are always the locals. So if Jubilee was out to, dispel this kind of event, then they ought to have targeted Nairobi region, not those who are traveling from various parts of the country. It is quite unfortunate. We never moved from police force to police service. It has remained a police force. But, NASA government will move in to, clear all these messes within the shortest possible space of time.
Mheshimiwa, assuming this event goes on at 12 o'clock, Raila to take oath of office as the people's president, then give his speech, then what next?
A part of his speech will also... no problem. Part of his speech will also include, naming the cabinet. We have seen the names that have been thrown by Jubilee, people who I know, if the tyranny of numbers were not going to inform the decision in Parliament, then half of Uhuru Kenyatta's cabinet will go home because they do not have the integrity, they do not have the capacity and the professionalism to discharge their mandate. But, when you are in Parliament, it is about voting, and they then tend to carry the day. So the kind of cabinet composition that Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka will parade to the world today, everybody will be in agreement.
I am told Mercy Kandie is ready to bring us up to speed on the events as they unfold at Kalonzo Musyoka's residence in Karen. Will be crossing over. But when we come back, I'm sure people want to know, after he names the cabinet, who will vet them? We cross over to Mercy Kandie in Karen. Mercy, if you can hear me, good morning.
Good morning, Charles.
On your face, eh? Sorry about that. Tell us what's happening.
Yes, Charles, we, as you mentioned, are currently at Karen at one of NASA principal's home, Kalonzo Musyoka. And what we can tell you so far, standing here, is that it's peaceful, it's calm, nothing happening so far. If my cameraman can just show you pictures of just outside his house, we're told he's still inside waiting to see if he'll get out to where the exact destination will be. That will be discovered a bit later on. But as you can see, members of the press just waiting to see if Kalonzo Musyoka and other NASA principals will step out for that particular event. But so far, Charles, no security on site. Calm. We've just seen even some of the residents going about their normal business. Charles?
How far are you from Kalonzo Musyoka's residence? I'm asking that because earlier on, Wilkista Nyabwa told us they had been stopped at the outside barrier.
We are actually just outside the gate. We've just moved slightly away from the gate because we've not been allowed to stand just outside the gate. But Charles, if probably my cameraman can just do a small pan and just zoom to. This is literally just outside his gate. No confrontation, no. We've not been told not to, what we've not been allowed to do is get inside the house. But we have been told that Kalonzo Musyoka is inside his house. We will be keeping you updated in terms of if he comes out for that particular event. But Charles, and like what Wilkista had told you, that we and just other members of the press are outside the home of Kalonzo Musyoka. Charles.
Mercy Kandie will be coming back to you as and when there is any new development. Please keep us posted and all the best. Yes. Take good care of yourself. We are also having shots on your screen, the left side of your screen, Kisumu's Odinga Street, where Willis Raburu is camped, and we'll be joining him shortly so that he brings us up to speed on what is really happening in Kisumu. Thank you very much, Mercy. Before we cross over to Kisumu, Mheshimiwa, after Raila Odinga names his cabinet, as you said he will do, the law says they have to be vetted. So who will vet them and where will they be vetted? Bearing in mind that you have said it time and again that you don't have the numbers in Parliament.
And I will mention this enough times. We are taking back the sovereignty to the people of the great Republic of Kenya. That sovereignty therefore means that even the vetting process, by the dint of the Constitution on public participation, shall be done by the Kenyan people. NASA will convene various sessions in various parts of the country, and people will present their petitions to those particular conventions. And if somebody has an issue with a particular cabinet or a candidate for cabinet position, then that will be the best aura for those concerns to be addressed. So the people of Kenya will vet our cabinet on behalf of the elected leaders.
So the people of Kenya will give NASA the mandate to convene these vetting panels.
As they have given us the mandate to convene People's Assembly.
Given you as who?
As NASA coalition.
Okay, so I'm a bit confused here, Mheshimiwa. Sovereignty lies with the people. The people shall exercise the powers directly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So at what point is NASA the people?
NASA is a coalition of political parties deriving its powers and strength directly from the people. And if they will then name their cabinet, it is incumbent upon, again, the Kenyan people, not the duly elected leaders, as is exercised in Article 1, Sabbatical 5, or Sabbatical 2. But this is giving people directly the mandate to do so. You're aware that we have conducted various conventions in various counties since we began this process. We just came out of Homa Bay the other week, last weekend. So in such a forum, people will then get to know the names of nominees for various positions. And at that particular time, if somebody has an issue or a petition to raise against any individual, then that is the best platform to do so.
So the situation is that the people will be vetting those who are appointed to various cabinet positions by Raila Odinga after being sworn in today. Then what next?
Well, then